So the intelligent customer experience revolution. So yeah, it's a bold title, I know. But as mentioned before, AI was mentioned a few times. I was invited to share some thoughts to kind of like make you think, just to set the ground for later on to go into the details of what we actually do. So this is more like a little higher level. The great thing is, luckily for me, a few days ago here in Hamburg, I had the chance to see the product manager of ChatGPT at OpenAI. The guy is born here, close to Hamburg, in Itzehoe, and kind of like shared his thoughts. And you know what? OpenAI recently figured out the really perfect customer experience that you want to get with AI. And they did it by accident. They basically had this thing, they looked all these like thumbs up in the feedback, and they optimized the model, and the result was mind-blowing. It was just perfect. It was a sycophantic AI. AI that always agrees with you. Like when you write something, you are kind of like Hemingway. This is so good what you write. When you have some crazy ideas like, okay, I'm on mental meds. I really have the idea that I should not use them because then I'm more crazy. Yes, you should do that. You should not take your medicine. So they really had this is real. They had this update for their OpenAI, like ChatGPT 4.0 model in the background, where they just kind of like updated the version a little bit with newer training data. And they really looked at the actual training of the thumbs up. And this was the result. There was this kind of weird thing that the large language model loved to praise you for whatever you do. And people actually didn't like it because after a while they realized, yeah, that's maybe not helpful, that you really don't want that, right? So let's do a little experiment. Imagine you have a newspaper. Imagine it's 1 centimeter thick. And I tell you now, in your mind, start folding it, like 1 times, 2 times. I know after a few times you get trouble folding it because it becomes difficult, right? But because it's kind of like exponential, like 2 centimeters, 4 centimeters. The question to you now is, how high is the stack, mentally folded, 100 times? Any guess? Yeah? Reach the moon. Yeah? More ideas? Who bets more? More, right? It is more. It's 93 billion light years. And you might wonder, does it even fit into the observable universe? No, it's 14 times the observable universe. And I always think about this, like, okay, how does that work, right? Like, folding a newspaper, 1, 2, 3, how did it get to not fitting into the universe? Folding it 100 times. But it is true, like 2 to the power of 100, it's roughly like 10 to the power of 30. And 10 to the power of 30 centimeters, when you convert that to kilometers, that is basically 5 less, so 25. 10 to the power of 25 kilometers. That is a lot. That is actually that much. And yeah, so when I use this now to test ChatGPT, the 4.5 model, and actually it got it right. It basically figured out, okay, it would not fit into the universe, like 14 times larger. I said, yep, okay. So AI now is at least smart enough to do these little tricks. But it's still mind-blowing to me because for me, it's anything but intuitive. You know, I still, in my mind, I don't get to this not fitting into the universe when I fold mentally a newspaper. And that's the issue with exponential curves. Exponential things, they are just for humans not a natural thing. We like to have linear things, or maybe a little bit, but exponential curves for us is hard to comprehend. Nonetheless, exponential curves are changing fundamentally the world around us. It's really the exponential part that drives change. And you can see that in the past. Like usually when you have something exponential growing, it's small, 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 boom, it's huge. So, and that has consequences. You have wild new possibilities. Things that were impossible in the past suddenly are possible. You have unprecedented scale because this growing, as you saw, goes above and beyond. And you also have insane speed. Things suddenly happen much faster. And we had that before, right? So like all of us, We were there when the internet did this thing. Like from, oh, look at this little thing there in the university, you can text someone and oh, now it's bigger, now we talk about, but then now, just imagine the world today without the internet. Does it even work? Is it like, it's impossible, right? The internet is not something we could think of that is not there, that's everywhere around us, and all the different devices on your cards. The same happened to mobile. At the beginning, it was an expensive little piece of technology for CEOs, and then everyone in the world has one, and it really changed the world, right? I strongly believe that it changed who's president in the United States, for example. So it's because of that kind of stuff. And now we have AI. AI will do the same thing, and like the earlier trends, it does the same thing but faster. So it goes much quicker. The internet changed the world, but it took a while. I have the hunch that AI will do that much faster. And you can see that. You can see that in this chart. It shows you, the last few years, the capabilities of these large language models. The red one, for example, is image classification. How well does the AI understand what the image, is it a dog or a cat and the like. And you can see around 2015, the image classification became superhuman. So it's better than the humans on average to do that. So when you have some content and you want to have it classified, don't put humans to that. Like the AI is really good at this. Okay, so we lost that race, right? Like then visual reasoning, medium level reading comprehension, English language understanding, all these things, computers, large language models are better than us for a while now. What is a little frightening is when you see these other charts there, like multitask language understanding from 40% to above human capacity. Okay, that went quickly. Then, okay, the computation level mathematics, as you saw earlier, like math was a problem at the beginning. Now, boom, superhuman. Multimodal understanding reasoning means like you're thinking about images and text and everything together. Boom, kind of like close to superhuman. And now it comes, PhD level science questions. So you have to have a PhD in one field, then you are able to be 100%. This thing is better, but in every field. In medicine, in biology, in kind of computer science, in kind of like whatever else there is. So you have something within a short period of time from 50% went to superhuman. And this is not the end of it, right? Like the next thing will come, coding, superhuman. Like so many things. What you see there is the steep part of the exponential curve. It's now the part where we realize, okay, shoot, like this was small and now it's huge. Another thing that you see with exponential things is, yes, things speeding up, in this case, the other way around. These early language models, they were not good at keeping their attention. The kind of like, when you gave them a task, it had to be a very small, short task for humans to be not confused. Bigger, complex tasks, they usually failed after a while because they were not good at error correction. But that went from 30 seconds tasks and coding to 1 hour. Like what takes humans an hour here. Oh, does it work? Oh, sure. Oh, it does. What takes human an hour is now basically done by these models. So you have an LLM that can focus and do the work of an hour. But in exponential, right? It doesn't take long to be a day, a week, a year. Like a year of a human basically being done by this language model. It's just a few clicks away. So we will get there soon. Also, luckily for us, it's getting cheaper. So by the factor of 10, these things get cheaper. So something that was 1,000 3 years ago became 100, became 10, became 1. That means it becomes so cheap that you will put it everywhere, in every stupid device. You will have, intelligence everywhere, in everything, because it's so cheap. Everywhere means like in your home, right? This little kind of robot there making your bed and cleaning up, and it knows where your underwear goes and where the dirty dishes go. It will be in your call center. Like we do that already for customers, understanding, proposing answers, but soon you basically will talk to the AI completely. In your fridge. So Samsung put AI in the fridge. It knows what you put in there, what you take out, what you should eat, what not, what is old. So basically it makes recommendation. And in your cab, the self-driving car thing, especially for the Germans in the room, a big topic, right? We talked about it last year. that was the point in time when San Francisco, you already had these things driving around for a while. And I went back there. Yeah, my friends told me, you know what? I don't like to drive Uber anymore. I want that thing. I pay more for it. And here's why. It's always a nice car. There's nobody in there who has smoked or stinks or something. Nobody you have to argue with when they take the wrong turn. Nobody who thinks he knows better than Google Maps. Nobody basically who's driving too quickly or too slow. Nobody who basically wants a review at the end and a tip. And kind of like the experience of driving in an Uber compared with that thing is you get in here and one described it as you have 30 minutes of meditation to yourself in this serene place and the thing drives you where you want to. And there was not one person. It was three friends that I talked to that all said, hey, I wish this thing would drive to the airport, because it wasn't at that point in time. And they all preferred it. And you can see it in the numbers, actually. Waymo, this was at the beginning of the year. Now I heard that they are at the level of Lyft. So they take market share, they grow, they are the preferred solution. That made me think, because, yeah, maybe humans are overrated. In this case, we don't want a human to drive us. The truth is, we prefer the AI to drive us around. As soon as basically it works, it's a pretty nice experience that you don't have to basically argue with someone. You don't have to go with. And I wonder if we look back at today and say, yeah, there are quite a few things where we prefer the human. Like if I have like a flight connection that doesn't work, and I'm really pissed, and I talk to Lufthansa's like the agent, yeah. Maybe if there was an AI agent that knows all the connections, and I know that they know all, I would like that more, because they might solve my problem faster than this guy who basically is not helpful. What happens usually is, at the beginning, something like self-driving cars or coding or whatever it is AI does, it sucks, right? At the beginning, it's not really good. Like the image generation 3 years ago, yeah, the images look a little creepy with 10 fingers and stuff. Then it kind of works with glitches. So even the self-driving thing, right? I had this glitch a year ago when I was kind of in one of these Waymos, and it started to go backwards because there were some cars in the front. And that was a little creepy because behind us, the guys freaked out. However, when you don't check it again in a few weeks, month later, you miss the point when this thing becomes superhuman. When the glitches of the past, yeah, they were there, but now it's not true anymore. It's so good, it's superhuman, right? And you will see that with a lot of things. You test them once, yeah, it kind of works, but not really. And you should test it again, because you will see the development is so quickly that suddenly things work that didn't. Faster than ever, we talked about that. Like this is the adoption curve of these companies here. Like DocuSign took 10 years close to reach from 1 million in revenue per year to 100 million. Look at the last one here, Cursor. They went there in 12 months. So 12 months, this thing kind of like blew up. And they did this with 30 people. So 30 people created a $100 million business out of nothing, right? Like out of like code. What they do is they use these large language model together with a code editor. And they put this together and said, okay, now we can basically give a nice environment for you to write code. This thing now generates 1 billion lines of code per day. That's quite a few developers that you have to hire to generate 1 billion lines of code, right? So that is mind-blowing. Because everyone can use it now. You can basically, even if you don't, you can use this thing, hey, I want to have this little interface, little app that does this, and boom, there it is. And then, oh yeah, I want a database. It works, right? You can do this vibe coding. It's not always, like, it's still kind of like sometimes breaks, but it is the way to go. It will basically change the way we generate code. The result of that is usually you see less labor. Companies, basically, software companies, the Silicon Valley, they all basically have less people now, but they all look for more skills. So they all look for people who basically are able to handle these models, to know kind of like how data science work. So you need less people, but you need skilled people. You need more skills. What you also see is you have smaller teams moving faster. So the 30 people creating a $100 million business out of nowhere, that is the new reality. I think we will see the same in companies, in all of your companies. Small teams that create something pretty fast. What happens now is like it's defined as a new baseline here. That was the CEO of Shopify. He sent this email around. It leaked. He published it. He told all the employees, guys, AI, using AI all the time reflexively is the only way you can survive here. It's the only way you can cope because we expect 20 to 40% growth per year without more employees. So you have to use AI all the time, and that's the only way you can cope. Plus, we don't give you any new hires, even though we're growing fast, if you can't prove that AI can't do it. So in a way, he defined now, hey, if you don't use AI all the time, you out, you lost, you have no chance to survive here. Brutal, but potentially very honest, right? So what does it mean now? Like the AI thing is there, and I think earlier we saw everyone more or less use it kind of like every day. There are different ways we use it. So one thing we can all relate to is, yeah, ChatGPT is actually a pretty nice Google replacement. I can Google something, and look at the file, or I can just use ChatGPT, answer the question, there comes the answer right away, and it's great, right? I can even have some more. So that is the normal thing that most people do. So look, quickest sign of hands, who does that, who likes to do that? Yeah, most, right? It's just so convenient. There's more, though. Millennials use ChatGPT as a life coach. So for them, it's like, oh, should I break up with my girlfriend? And then they put it in there. And what are the pros and cons? Or should I study there or here? Or whatever question they have, they put in there and ask this thing and like guide me through it. What are the pros? What are the cons? So for them, it's normal to have really everything in there. That's even not enough, right? There is the 15 to 25-year-olds. And those are, according to the product manager of ChatGPT, the biggest user group. The most intense users are 15 to 25. And they use ChatGPT as something Sam Altman described as operating system. Basically, they do everything through this large language model. They basically, when they get up, they plan for the day. They have this thing make your schedule. They basically, you want to learn something because you have a test next week. You tell it, hey, this I have to learn, and then this thing makes the plan for the learning, and then it does the coaching you and testing you and stuff. When they have the kind of like the thing of, oh, I want to work out more, and I want to eat differently, then it makes your plan for what you should eat every day. And when you have a social gathering, they tell you whom to invite and whom not, and what to play, and what. They have chats open for each friend to post everything in there that they discuss with a friend, to basically later on, hey, like, what is a cool meme I could send my friend? Because the ChatGPT knows all the history of that communication. It's insane, right? Because they put everything in there. It's always around. It's always running. It's basically in your ear when you go running or in the car. It understands. They use it to understand things. If they have a question, they ask ChatGPT, and oh, here's the explanation. So they kind of like know everything because this thing in the ear knows everything. They use it to be creative, to write poems, to write a screenplay and to basically develop a character. So it's not just for technical stuff, it's for creative stuff. They use it to make plans, to remind them, to coach them through a situation, to make them better at what they do. They use it to manage their relationships. They use it to optimize their lives, to make them better, right? And even, one more thing, many of them used AI to be a friend, to have someone you can share everything with. You can ask everything. You don't have to be shy. There's no judgment. It's always awake. It's always there. It's always there for you. It knows a lot about you now. So even the emotional connection is with this thing, right? So their whole life is in there, in the personal assistant. So the next level now, that will happen pretty soon, was visible at a TED stage, I think a few days ago. They published this video, and it's basically normal glasses, like from Ray-Ban, like you have Luxottica here, like they look like normal glasses, but there's a camera in there, microphone in there, speaker in there, and even like something you can display in there. And it looks like this. You walk through the world, and you basically have this screen. It knows everything, records everything. So your whole life is now, when you talk to someone, it's recorded. When you go somewhere, oh yeah, you left your card there because it knows what you did and what you, like, that will be the next level. And when I saw the presentation, they ended with this sentence, it's not augmented reality anymore. or extended reality, it's augmented intelligence. Because you, as a human doing that, you have the intelligence of the system augmenting yourself. Like suddenly you understand everything, you know everything, every phase, and you can ask this thing, hey, when did I meet this guy before? Like, boom, it's all in there. So now the question comes, what does it mean for your own customer experience? Because you all basically have companies, you have to interact with these people, right? This is the next generation, and as in the past, it's likely what everybody will do at some point in time. So we see the future in a way when we look at this. Very likely, most people will end up there, doing that kind of stuff. That means your customers, your future customers, also your future employees will do that stuff. That means, first of all, if you want it or not, your customer experience, if you want to be holistic, it has to cover AI touchpoints. Because they will not even kind of like ask you if they have a problem with your product. They will ask the large language model, hey, here, my Bosch washer is broken, and how do I fix it? And you will see, it's mind-blowing how good this thing is. It can basically explain you exactly which buttons you have to press on your heat pump or whatever it is, right? So that is the first thing. They will go there, not to you. Also, when they want to buy something, they will likely not end up on your website or on Google. They go to the large language model. Hey, what's the best espresso machine under $200 that basically gives them the Italian flair and taste? Boom. Right in there, in the large language model comes the recommendation. Buy this. So if you are not in the large language model with your products, well, they don't know about you, they won't buy you. And that's the next thing, right? They work, so far it was able that you could find the products, click on a link and go to a website and buy something. But the next level is that the large language model will be the agent to buy for you, which is actually a big step. Who was working on this the most is like OpenAI plus Shopify. Shopify has already a lot of stores, a lot of kind of like consumer products, and now OpenAI, in a way, together they can solve this problem. Hey, who is this? What is the payment mechanism, and how do we do this? Oops, sorry. So therefore, if you want it or not, these large language models will be your customer. Not really, right? Because what does it mean that a large language model buys something? There's no kind of like legal, I think, framework to say that, oh yeah, I sued the large language model. It bought something and didn't pay. But also the question is like, if I'm the customer, this thing bought 5 million of something I didn't want. Hey, sue me. I didn't buy anything. It was this jet. Like I didn't do it. So there are some questions there, but you will have to interact with these large language models. That means, first of all, your content that you create, all the information that you have, big channels that you have to think about is like, well, yeah, it goes into chatbots that you own, chatbots that other people own. It goes into the large language model that browse the web. So OpenAI and others now have their own robots. You want to make sure that your products are in those robots, right? That the robots know about you and the pricing, and they want more information, not less. So it's still the truth that you need to somehow have all the control of the data. Yesterday, I learned that indeed one of our customers used that setup to have the content in CoreMedia be pushed to their kind of like agent force, kind of like agent, to be up to date. What is real right now on the website? What can we communicate to customers who talk to us? So that is a key requirement. So when you want to have the holistic experience, you also have to bring together not just the AI part, right? It's also what happens in the stores. So you want that also to be included. What happens on the phone, all the conversation, the call center and the like, what happens in customer service appointments. So you want to bring the AI part together with the other touch points that your people have, your B2B sales team and the like. And ideally you want to get in there what happens elsewhere. I could see a future where even this thing with the glasses might still solve that problem, right? It basically records all the interactions, so you don't have to type in something in Salesforce, you just basically use your phone. The question is like privacy and the like, but yeah, there's something coming. The last point here is, yeah, this customer experience, everything synchronized, everything personalized, everything updated, everything fresh and new. Yeah, you would not do that manually. That is just not possible. So it's like, there's no question in my mind that the customer experience of the future will be orchestrated by AI. You will need AI to manage all that complexity. You have no other chance, right? Because now you have this thing that is superhuman and understanding text, understanding imagery, understanding videos, but also synthesizing information, creating information, turn this poem into a video, boom, there it is. You have like translation, transformation, recombination of information. So the AI is so good at this, better than any human, that it makes sense to use it, right? You can use it to like cope with the complexity, create all the variants that you need, or manage the scale of things, because the likelihood is high that you have much, much more information. These large language models want to know everything about your product, right? Like, where was it produced? Who was the cow? Who was the name of the cow who basically gave the milk? Like, they want more information, not less, right? Because some customers might look for, oh, is it organic? Is it kind of like produced this way? Is it from this country? Overall, there's massive potential for automation. What we see already is like these things are pretty good at doing stuff that are repetitive, that basically you don't want to do manually, but also for personalization, to really figure out, okay, what is relevant for this person? What is the intent of this person? And how can I help him or her to solve that problem? So there are some issues. Yeah, I don't want to kind of like be too negative, but there are some really important issues, like privacy, for example. Like if this thing knows everything about your life, all your relationships, it better not get hacked, because that might be embarrassing when someone else gets access to your large language model that has everything in there, right? Even your embarrassing thoughts. But also, if it basically has to do something for you, like, oh, organize a birthday party for me and my wife, invite my friends and do this, and book like some pizzas and a place, well, it has to have all your connections, all your emails, all your SMS, all your friends, all your kind of like your credit card, the logins for all the other services. So this thing becomes like pretty powerful, right? You might wake up someday, like Michael Douglas in The Game, if you know that movie, and all is gone. Like, okay, the Bitcoin is gone and your money is gone, and all your friends have these weird photos of something that they shouldn't see. So, like, it's really like mentally for me a conflict. Okay, do I want to give an algorithm that much power over my life? It seems like maybe not. On the other hand, young people do that, right? They basically put everything in there. They want the AI to be a financial advisor, so all the banking stuff in there. So copyright is an issue, security. Certainly that has to be addressed, and people are working on this. For example, with a credit card, I know that Visa has a program to create this kind of restriction for the credit card be used by the agent, that you can set up boundaries, like with your child, with screen time, like, okay, not more than this money, not only these kind of like other vendors, but yeah, it's still topics there. One thing that I think is relevant for you is not that much the customer side, but yourself, right? Organizations. You need, at the end, to stay in control. Because AI can do a lot. It's difficult, however, to think that now we hand over the kind of like the authority and the accountability to the AI. So like AI might be good at selling something at some point in time, but do you want it to say, yeah, and it cures cancer too, and it is basically, there's no risk in this, and the AI might do things that you don't want to do. And when you are in regulated industry, like finance, healthcare, yeah, you have even some rules, but you have to have some control over this. And losing control, even this example that we had earlier with the OpenAI updating their model, nobody was asked, right? Nobody who used OpenAI in their systems was asked, do you want to have this update? No, it just happened. And the behavior changed. So if you have now these large language models as part of your enterprise infrastructure, suddenly they might behave weirdly as if they are drunk, and nobody will ask you first. So that's also an issue. So what do we do about this? Like, one thing is we aim to find the right blend between human and AI. You know, human, for example, a human in the loop. You want AI to do a lot, and I think it will automate more and more, but you might want to have someone supervising them, right? Like approving finally, hey, is this message fine? Or at least have this supervisory thing, like, let's have some governance here, let's do some tests, let's basically have some ways to make sure that the AI is not going wild. We also see this thing of pre-approved content, that the AI needs some structure, some information, like a content repository. Hey, this is the ground truth that you can work with. These are the arguments you can make. This is the product information. These are the prices. Like, you want to have that, right? And the AI can use that to create the message, but it can't just make up stuff. So that's certainly one. We also expect that, that AI, you want to be able to really see who changed what, which model did when what. So you want to have complete transparency about the actions of AI, and you need to be able to audit it. You might actually need other AI to do that for you because it becomes so much. What we also learned is you really want to have your preferred large language model and be able to switch that. So what we thought maybe 1 year, 1.5 years ago is that OpenAI won. They thought that, right? Hey, we won. We have the best model and nobody will ever catch us. Yeah, no. Truth is, like Toby said earlier, Claude is better at programming than your stuff. Like, yeah, Claude 3.7, it's pretty good. And this Chinese, DeepSeek, it's pretty cost efficient, much more than yours. So like, they are not the only ones. There are so many now that are competing, and I think there's a lot more innovation to be had in the future. Plus, there will be a competition about, okay, who gives whom how much control? Can you have it in an environment where you have more control than other people provide? We had this already. I think AI will be used to, as a second level, to monitor the behavior of other AIs, to screen, hey, is this legal? Is this aligned with our technology, with our guidelines and the like? So, to come to a conclusion, we see a little bit this chart. We see in your future, you certainly still have the topic of content. What is something that we basically want to say that is approved? You have massively the topic of data. For AI to be effective, you need a data strategy and you need good data to work with. And the touch points, yeah, more and more of those you want to basically integrate to have a holistic experience, be it the website or chats or external chats or what you basically show to agents that come to you through like agent-to-agent communication. What we provide is the Kio Copilot as, in a way, the ability for your editors, for your employees, to orchestrate the experience. What we also see and working on is the brand AI. It's kind of like to the outside world, to customers. I can browse the website, but I also could go to this thing and, hey, can you help me basically solve this problem? I want to have this product. So that all your information is also available through an AI to the external world. And then what we expect to happen is the personal AI of people, right? Like what Apple builds, what OpenAI does, that external AI will come to you, and it's not a human browsing the website, it's another AI. So that experience you also have to influence, right? You have to provide information for this thing that might look different than the one for the human users. So we will look at that later on, multiple examples, a little bit the visionary part, how could this look like? And I want to leave you with this. Yeah, it's still true. We want to elevate the experience and we want to drive impact. And now we want to do it exponentially, because that is indeed possible. And with that, I wish you to enjoy the ride and have a lot of fun. Thanks.